Hey guys, I'm Geoff Fienberg back here with you for another edition of my oddschecker.com/US NFL Week 9 DFS selections. I hope it's Week 9. Yeah, Week 9. Season keeps motoring along. We've passed the halfway point. COVID scares. Put them in your window. Keep trugging forward. That's the NFL's plan. Like, sub, comment, lots of fun stuff coming from me in the next little bit on Odds Checker because it's Masters Week, essentially, at this very moment. So sub, so all my great Masters content will drop right into your feed. But right now, we're going to break down some National Football League Week 9 DFS slate, starting with the quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, easy call there, $7,600, $9,000 on FanDuel. Easy to pick Russell, but a tough decision as to which quarterbacks we're going to pick. Patrick Mahomes, who we used last week, was the highest price again, and he really did pay off that price point for us. Like we said, pizza is good. Even bad pizza is still good. I'm leaning Wilson right now because of the matchup against the Bills. The Bills have had their issues against pretty much everyone as of late. They absolutely cannot get off the field on third down, and this game could end up being a shootout and has the highest total on the board. Wilson has been incredible literally all year, and I don't see any reason why that would stop this week in what should be really nice weather in Western New York this weekend for this time of year. Russell Wilson, again, just auto in the lineups. Deshaun Watson, 300 straight. Wow. Deshaun Watson has gone for 300 yards in his last 4 games, guys. He also has 18 rushing attempts in that time, and Jacksonville has given up the 3rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks this year. So that $5,500 price and $8,300 on FanDuel is actually sticking out to me in a big way. I'll be here with this $5,500 Deshaun Watson. Many have him as the 4th highest projected quarterback on the slate. He's in a smash spot against an opponent with great stacking options. You can also come back with James Robinson on the other side. I suspect this could be a popular game to play from. Robinson, as mentioned previously, just above 7,000 on DraftKings, 7,300 on FanDuel. Robinson is a great run back option if you go with Watson at QB, which I certainly will be doing. The Texans have given up the 2nd most fantasy points to running backs this year. They're also starting a rookie at QB and will need to lean heavily on Robinson. He gets a ton of volume in this game, both running and receiving, a couple of touchdowns, and he can absolutely break the slate. Even when the games start ugly, like the last Jags game did versus the Chargers, they went to Robinson, they got a touchdown, they got right back in the game. I suspect this to happen continuously for the Jags despite their quarterback situation. Also at running back, Justin Jackson. It's 4,900 on DK, 5,900 on FanDuel. Justin Jackson appears to have taken the workhorse, the main load of the Charger backfield, while Austin Eckler still remains out from injury. Josh Kelly, 4th-round pick, has not been able to supplant him. And he's not even doing a good job supplementing him to be perfectly honest. He was the main back in Denver, and I suspect that to continue again versus Oakland this week. 2 of the last 3 games, he's had 15 carries, 3 straight games with 5 or more targets. The Raiders have given up the 6th most fantasy points to running backs all year. He's a great pay down option this week, and he can open things up at other positions. And it's been a while since I think the Chargers have actually run in a touchdown that wasn't Herbert, so they're probably really due for that. Wide receiver, Tyrell Lockett. Seems like every week it's either Lockett or Metcalf, monster week. Who's it going to be? For us this week, we think it's Lockett's turn. Lockett lines up in the slot 63% of the time, and that's where Buffalo is the most vulnerable, giving up over 13 points a game to slot YRs. Again, this game has the highest total on the board. We expect it to absolutely flirt with that total. And picking Wilson, slot guy versus the Buffalo Bills is the way to go for us. There are some pieces in Buffalo that, while it might be impossible to slow down Metcalf, I suspect Lockett, I'm making the call, is the big monster for Russell this week. Although, like we said, week in, week out. Speaking of monsters, Julio Jones, 7,200 on DraftKings, 8,200 on FanDuel. There are a lot of good matchups at the YR position. I thought about going back to Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, Heelan. Thielen, sorry. But at this moment, it is Julio Jones for me. He had 9 targets or more in 3 straight games. He has failed. He has just barely failed to eclipse the 100-yard mark in one of those games. He has the second highest projection for me of wide receivers this week. And against Carolina, he looked nearly unstoppable. Ridley's nursing the injury. I expect another big game. Falcons season's done. Julio puts up stats. We've seen this before. It's going to happen the rest of the year. Tight end, Alex Iguanaba. Guy broke my heart last week with an amazing touchdown, so you think I should know. Alex Iguanam, the rookie, coming off a 1-target game, isn't the main guy in Denver. That would be Noah Fant. Drew Lock and him did play together in college, and he was running a lot of routes last week. The Falcons have given up a ton of points to the fantasy tight ends this year. At this price point, a couple of catches and finding the end zone could pay off big. $2,800 on DraftKings, $5,000 on FanDuel. We'll just call it Alex O. But in getting a good look at that Denver team last week and what I suspect they'll be able to put up points against Atlanta this week without taking the entire first half off like they did last week, this guy's part of that route tree. Every time Drew Lock seemed to be dropping back to pass, I was finding Alex finding his matchups against linebackers wasn't nearly targeted enough. Didn't matter. Drew Lock made the plays. Chargers suck. Darren Waller, 5,800 on DK, 6,400 on FanDuel. Speaking of a tight end going up against the Chargers, as I saw opportunities last week for Denver that they didn't really even capitalize while still winning the game. Waller is the best receiving option on this Raiders team. He's got a huge discount from the top of the tight end board where you'll see a Kelsey at about $7,200. He's been incredibly consistent, getting 6 or more targets in 4 straight games. The Chargers just traded Desmond King, but I don't know. They're a little deep at corner, but they're still getting beat up everywhere right now. Gus Bradley's an absolute abomination. So I imagine John Gruden will find ways to get the ball to Waller. The volume and the price point make him a pretty solid play. And the Chargers can't cover tight ends. Teams aren't throwing to tight ends versus the Chargers enough. At least that's what I'm seeing. Granted, that Denver game is the first game I was unable to watch back. All the other Charger losses, the tough ones, I've taken the time to watch back. I just like watching Herbert again. That loss was too painful on the weekend. I've been unable to rewatch it. It's the truth. Oh, you see I'm ready for the Masters. Defense, special teams, Cardinals, 2,900 on DraftKings, 4,300 on FanDuel. Tua might be great eventually, but he didn't have a great start to his career last week. Seemed to manage a game. I don't know. I don't want to throw any shade at Tua. I would just say for a guy that teams are supposed to be tanking for, I didn't see any aspect of a player that was worth tanking for. Only his first start. Plenty of time. But I think the Cardinals defense has played quite well without Chandler since Chandler Jones has gone out for injury, and I expect that to continue. The Dolphins have the fifth highest adjusted sack rate in the NFL, and the Cardinals pressure it right in the top half of the league. If they're able to get to Tua, I suspect some more turnovers. And this could be the first game where Tua is actually forced into a situation because the game could be close, the game could be trailing. What a game by the Dolphins last week. The defensive special teams absolutely stepped up. That's what you do for the kid. The kid didn't even have to make a play. We suspect on the road versus Arizona. We'll see if he'll make a play this week. I like him, but I think he could be in for trouble Sunday. Broncos, 2,700 on DK, 4,200 on FanDuel. They put pressure at the 5th highest rate in the NFL. The Falcons are the 15th in the league at adjusted sack rate. The Broncos also come in at 10th in DVOA. Not really a surprise. And the Falcons have thrown the ball as much as any team in the league. The more passes thrown by the Falcons, the more chances there is for Denver. Even got their 2 picks last week versus Justin Herbert. I expect they'll get some sacks and turnover potential this week against Matty Ice and the Atlanta Falcons. I'm Geoff Fienberg. That has been my Week 9 NFL DFS rundown. Don't forget to like these videos, sub, comment. Tell me which DFS picks you like, you hate this week of mine. Tell me which ones you want to play, which ones you want to pivot off of. And don't forget, absolutely sub. Some Easter Egg Masters content coming from me. You don't want to miss it. Sub. So it gets to you first. And like, for me, do me a favor. I'm Geoff Fienberg. Let's have a week 9 because week 10 we got the mask. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. Week 9, like I can enjoy that. Week 10, Masters and NFL at the same time. I know we're hoping to be done the Masters early in the day with the light issues, the daylight issues here, but I'll be in town. But as far as my wife is concerned, I'm out of town. Like treat me like I'm out of town. I'm out.